what happens when a killer's sentence outlives the law that condemned him? In April of 1986, Henryk Czyżewski walked into a Polish execution chamber. He was 33 years old. 4 women were dead. 2 years later, Poland abolished the death penalty. The state that killed him had already changed its mind, but that's the end of the story. Let's go back to the beginning, back to a dark road in January 1971. Back to a pregnant woman, back to the first attack. Who was Henryk Czyżewski? And how did a teenage assault escalate into a string of murders that terrorized a region? It starts in January 1971. Henryk Czyżewski is just 18 years old. He lives in rural Poland. The landscape is flat. The roads are unpaved. Winters are harsh. On a country lane, he attacks a pregnant woman. She survives. But the act is a warning, a crack in the ice. The next 10 years pass quietly, or so it seems. Then, in the spring of 1981, something shifts. April 1981, a highway, the Autostrada A4, a new express road cutting through the Polish countryside. Near that highway, 25-year-old Christina R. is found dead. She has been strangled. The weapon? A belt from her own coat. The investigators note the method. It's personal. It's intimate. The killer used something that belonged to her. Less than a month later, on May 12, 1981, another woman disappears. Elżbieta L. is 28. She is near Tomaszów Bolesławicki. She's raped, then strangled, this time with stockings. Her own stockings. Now the police have 2 bodies, 2 different ligatures, but the same signature. The killer used the victim's own clothing. And then July 1981, another woman, Janina Ch. is only 18. She is in a field near Rokitki. She is raped, strangled, this time with the belt from her dress. 3 murders in 4 months. The same region, the same brutal pattern. But then the killings stop. For 2 years, nothing. Imagine the relief. Imagine thinking the nightmare was over, but Henryk Czyżewski was not done. He was waiting. The silence breaks in September 1983. A young woman named Bożena Chu goes missing. She's 23. She was last seen near Rokitki, the same area as before. When her body is found, the horror returns. She has been raped, strangled. The ligature is a string from her own jacket, and this time, the killer buried her. He took the time to hide the evidence, but that act of concealment becomes his undoing. The police, after months of dead ends, finally have a lead. Someone saw something, a tip, a witness. In October 1983, Henryk Czyżewski is arrested. He is 30 years old now, married, a father, the records don't say, but the man who attacked a pregnant woman at 18, who murdered 4 women over 2 years, is finally in custody, and he talks. He confesses, not just to Bożena Ch., but to all 4 murders. He leads the police to the graves, to the fields, to the places where he left the bodies. October 25, 1983, a crime scene reconstruction, a cold autumn day. The police take him to each location. He walks the fields, he points, he explains. At each spot, he confirms the connection. The 4 murders are his. The belt, the stockings, the dress belt, the jacket string, all his. But one question hangs in the air. Why did he stop between 1981 and 1983? Did he want to be caught? Did fear drive him underground? The investigation ends. The case is built. The trial begins. The courtroom, Legnica, 1985. On May 14, 1985, the provincial court in Legnica delivers its verdict. Henryk Czyżewski is guilty of 4 murders. He is sentenced to death. The local newspaper Konkrety covers the trial. On July 5, 1985, it publishes an article with a chilling headline, Proszę wstać, śmierć idzie. Please stand, death is coming. Imagine the sound of those words in a silent courtroom, the scrape of chairs, the judge's face, the defendant's eyes. The sentence is not unusual for the time. Poland still uses the death penalty. But the case is notorious. The vampire of Rokitki, the press calls him, a serial killer in a country that rarely saw such crimes. Czyżewski does not appeal. He accepts his fate. The date is set, April 29, 1986. On that morning, he is taken from his cell. The execution is carried out. The method, the records are vague, likely hanging or shooting, but the result is final. Henryk Czyżewski is dead. And then, 2 years later, in 1988, Poland abolishes the death penalty. The law changes. The state that killed him chooses a different path. But Czyżewski is already gone. Today, the case of the vampire of Rokitki is largely forgotten, but not entirely. In 2021, the Polish portal Fact24 obtained and published the case files. Journalists re-examined the evidence. They spoke to retired officers. They traced the timeline. The story resurfaced. And then in 2025, a new development. A film about Henryk Czyżewski is announced. Production begins in the second week of August 2026. The premiere is scheduled for autumn 2026. A movie, a killer, a community still haunted by the past. But there are unanswered questions. Czyżewski confessed to 4 murders. But were there more? The pregnant woman from 1971 survived. Could there be other victims who were never found? The gap between 1981 and 1983. What did he do in those 2 years? Did he stop? Or did he just get smarter? And the death penalty. He was executed in 1986. Poland abolished it in 1988. If his trial had been delayed 2 years, would he have been spared? Would he still be in prison today? An old man? The law changed. But for Henryk Czyżewski, it was too late. So we return to the question we started with. What happens when a killer's sentence outlives the law that condemned him? In the case of the vampire of Rokitki, the answer is simple. He died, and the law caught up 2 years later. But the story doesn't end there. The film is coming. The files are open. The memory of 4 women, Krystyna R., Elżbieta L., Janina Chai, and Bożena Chash, still lingers in the fields near Rokitki, near the autostrada, near the silent country roads where they took their last breaths. If you want more deep dives into forgotten Polish true crime, hit subscribe, share this video, and let us know in the comments. Do you think justice was served? Or did the state act too quickly? Until next time, stay curious, stay safe,